Hello operators, this is Ultronimus and I wanted to just do a video about the differences between the previous Gundam Breaker 4 beta and some thoughts about the current one now that well I guess just it is, because they finally did that for the West, which was pretty fun. Well, first thing that I was able to notice between the differences, the funnels seem well, the option that they gave us, it seemed to have changed from just being a straight up offensive thing and seemed like it had defensive elements. So that suggests it did change some functionality across the parts, which is cool. Unfortunately, which I'm about to get into, they changed around the stages a lot. So quite, well, very few parts overlap between the two. Like the original stage one, you kind of had just a fun little montage of different units. Like you got stuff from F91, you got Endless Waltz, G Recco, Unicorn was the final boss, but this time it was just all Char's counterattack. Stage 2 now was all about C, while before it was like UC with the ground Gundam, ground GM, and full armor Thunderbolt. And the last one this time is like it had Zeta units, which was really cool. And classic Gundam. There's another classic Gundam stage in the other as well. But I'm not sure if this means like they straight up changed the missions for launch or that they are kind of just swapping them around. Like all the missions that we did do exist, they just, they're showcasing different ones. But this is a beta anyway, and they would probably change it regardless. But it's just means I unfortunately can't compare how my old build was. That was just so many funnels of doom, which was cool. But I actually managed to get into multiplayer this time because I could actually read the menus properly. It was kind of hard to get into matches. I'm guessing that's because it was in, like, this is what the network test was trying to figure out. But, like, there would be empty rooms and I would try to join, but it wouldn't let me join. Or other times it say it's full, but when I look at the thing, it's clearly not full. So that was weird and frustrating, but when I did get two people or even just the one other person, it was really fun. It was more fun than playing by myself. Like playing by myself wasn't bad, but it was cool seeing them because you can. Okay, they added with the touchpad because I played on PS4. You can actually have like some preset lines you can say to them, or like "good work," "good to be here," give minor instructions like follow my lead. You can also, if you're playing solo, give NPC instructions, which is going to help a lot because they would be like just sitting there, which is the next thing. I feel like the AI got dumber. Like before, they were like fairly aggressive, like they weren't especially tough, but they were aggressive. But here, it kind of feels like they got toned down a lot and are kind of often just sitting there and doing like brief bursts of activity and being hostile. Except for the Master Grade Gundam, I guess since that's just a boss fight, they didn't change anything. It could be just me, but it just felt like, man, these guys are not even putting up a fight anymore when before they used to. But it kind of feels like they probably got stronger in how much damage they dealt this time. But whatever. It's, it is weird. They can probably fix that. And one comment that I kept getting with my last video was people wanted PvP, and even when I had a stream recently, they're saying that they wanted PvP, and they have a soft PvP here, not like a full-on one. They have the Bounty Hunter mode, which is if any of you have played mobile game like maybe Marvel Future Fight, you know that they'll have like you can't fight another player, but you can fight their main unit. So here you pick 3 opponents from a list, and all the people on the list are other people's personally created units. And then it's you and 2 other people in a 3v3 brawl, which I think is kind of cool, that you can still have a sort of PvP without the actual PvP. Personally, I just want a good PvE experience. I like PvP stuff, but that's so many things now. We don't really just have like, let's just have a regular classic co-op, let's have fun with the homies. It's always, let's murder other people with the homies, and depending on how good you and the homies are, it might just be a curve stomp. Like with the system they have in this, the combos can get insanely long, and if you were around for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it is not fun being on the receiving end of a combo video. You're just sitting there waiting and hoping that you live to actually play the game, which it's not fun. If they did add PvP, they would definitely need to change a lot, because they would probably need to integrate new systems to break combos early, because right now there's very little stopping it, and once it starts, it's just not fun to just be chained into oblivion. So, I mean, I'm fine with Bounty Hunter. I think that's pretty cool. And you can actually still get part drops from Bounty Hunter, so maybe your opponents might be people that you just want to get a part you're missing from. Like maybe they have that Wing Zero leg set you wanted and you don't have the stage yet, so you'll just go to Bounty Hunter, fight them, and just hope it drops. I don't know if you can do repeat fights. I didn't actually lose, and I didn't really keep a super close eye on the menu when I did so. So it might be that you can only fight them once, then the list refreshes like regular PvP. I'm not entirely sure. And when I first entered, it just had generic units, so I'm not sure if it's like while you are offline with no multiplayer, it is just going to be generic units you can just fight and farm. But when you do multiplayer, it switches to, or I guess get online, you switch to having full units, or it was just a coincidence. But either way, I think it's a really cool concept and could be a good way for some people, if they're lucky, to find or try to get parts that they wanted if they just don't have a stage that has it available yet, since you still need to grind for things. And really, that's all I had. Bounty Hunter was kind of the big thing that I noticed, besides actually being able to try the painting your unit in depth, which is really cool. There was a guy I ran into who had like a super weathered gun tank, which was super cool. Another had including my own, you had the caution stickers like on a real grade. Sometimes that would add there's one that had a ton of panel lines, but I have no idea how they pulled that off, but it was super cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people can do with that. And yeah, I just wanted to get that out while it was still fresh in my head before I forgot. Because, life happens, you forget things. And hopefully this was entertaining and you guys and gals and humanoids may have learned something. It'll help decide if you want this in the future. And I know I was on board before, I'm still on board now, but I'm kind of more leaning towards the pre-order with the early unlocks, just so I don't have to deal with some grinding. And I kind of really want the Ale Strike early because they added the seed units, and the Ale Strike was one of them, and it was pretty cool. So that's just me. But hopefully, if this has sold you on the game, you'll enjoy it when it comes out. Until then, farewell, operators.
All combat is over. Now that you've tasted victory, I'm sure you'll be back.
You better go fight some more.